Welcome to the Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not become a member yet, please go to the description, find the link, and become a member of the channel so you can be first to hear the scoop when I actually got some scoop. A lot of times we like to come in here and talk and fellowship, but sometimes I still got scoop, and you want to be first on that, right? All right, so guys, this is an AU scoop. And what I want to talk about today is right now, the resounding notion is that Jon Sumrall will be the next head coach at Auburn University. I've been kind of saying it for a while. There have been some subtle hints, some very subtle hints, right? But it looks like the deal is done. Now, I'm checking in with multiple sources that feel as if the deal is done and Jon Sumrall will be picking who he feels like can mesh well at Auburn. I do believe there will be some interviews done. The staff will be influenced by some of the current staff. So when I say that is DJ, now what I'm also hearing is that DJ Durkin has agreed to come on as the defensive coordinator, and DJ Durkin will most likely be the highest paid coordinator in football. I do believe this also comes with a title. I believe DJ Durkin becomes associate head coach, and if things go well, I'm not sure how long DJ Durkin stays in Auburn because once his name after getting that interview, and if Auburn plays well again, he's going to be one of the hottest names in the next coaching carousel if things go right. And that associate head coach title only helps if this is true. Now I'm digging through multiple sources. I've talked to a lot of people, coaches, staff members, agents. I'm digging. And I know it's out. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, but I don't like to talk about it unless I've really done my research. And it does feel like if this is done. The announcement is supposed to come Sunday or Monday after the Iron Bowl, regardless of how it goes. But there could be a monkey wrench. Florida. Now, there it was reported that Florida canceled their meeting. That Summerall hasn't interviewed with Florida. I think that was out, or the meeting was canceled. That doesn't mean Summerall didn't interview. From what I'm hearing, Summerall, Florida's definitely still in it for Summerall. Um, Ole Miss is planning on LSU going to or LSU getting Lane Kiffin. Summerall also, they feel as if Summerall will be a candidate there. That the Florida and Ole Miss basically sped up the process for Auburn, from what I'm hearing, to the point where they said, "Look, we're going to get this deal done. This is what we want to do. This is where we are." We've heard multiple people say that they think this is done. Um, Now I've heard that. Now let's introduce some chaos. Let's say Auburn beats Alabama, and Caleb DeBoer says, "I'm ready to go to Penn State." And excuse me, I called him Caleb DeBoer. It's Kalen DeBoer. I apologize. But let's say Auburn wins the Iron Bowl. DeBoer wants to go to Penn State. Alabama makes the last ditch effort for Lane Kiffin. Does Lane Kiffin go to Bama? I don't know. I think this is, and if Lane Kiffin goes to Bama and LSU has their guy, does LSU come at Jon Sumrall with everything they have? Does Florida say, you know what? We're going to up our deal because we have to have a coach because now there's another opening and we're behind. Because right now, I don't think I'm hearing Eli Drink. I'm hearing Drink is going to stay in Missouri now. Now I don't. Now this is all hearsay, but I got some pretty good guys I talk to. So I'm hearing Drink would stay at Missouri. So I'm wondering, and it looks like Florida would get Jed Fish. Okay, so but let's say it doesn't go that route. Summerall is probably he probably has the best set of cards left. What if someone says total autonomy, bring who you want, pick our whole staff? Does Summerall change his mind? I don't know. Now, originally, I was hearing that guys who would be heavily influenced to stay at Auburn, as far as the staff goes, would be Marcus Davis, wide receiver coach, and Vontrell King Williams, defensive line coach. Those were two guys, position coaches that I was hearing were going to that the powers that be were going to strongly suggest that they be retained for any coach, um, which I think I can agree with. And I think everybody, and I don't think the staff did a horrible job. You wish there were some spots where you could have got some recruiting at specific spots, but y'all know how I am. I'm like not a guy that's just gonna be like, yeah, fire this dude, right? No matter who it is. But I did hear that those are two guys that will be strongly um, pushed, and I think I'm not sure if it's done yet, but definitely two guys that are going to be um, strongly suggested to be retained. So as it stands right now, I think regardless of how the Iron Bowl goes, Jon Sumrall, as it stands today, it looks like Jon Sumrall is your next head coach at Auburn. DJ Durkin becomes the associate head coach, the highest paid defensive coordinator, highest paid coordinator in the country. I think he gets over 3 million, maybe 3.2, 3.3. I'm not sure, but definitely gets over 3 million. Do they go 3.5? What if they go 3.5? That'd be congrats, DJ. And your biggest job at that point is retaining your stars. Deuce Knight, I think, is the most important guy on that team. Because even if you got Cam Coleman, he can't throw the ball to himself. I think if you continue, if Deuce Knight is retained, you got some leverage. People saw what he did last week. I'm hearing from different fan bases. He's probably that performance was the most electrifying performance, I think, by any quarterback that was a true freshman this year outside of the guy from Cal. Cal has some my man Sadapulele, I think his name is. Excuse my language, excuse my pronunciation. But the kid from Cal has had some really good performances as well. But um, yeah, I think Deuce for sure is going to be. I mean, he's got to be priority one for retaining Cam Coleman as well. But I think if you get Deuce, he gives you a better shot to get Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman can go anywhere. Doesn't matter. Don't matter the offense. Don't matter what you got going. Cam Coleman's going to be a first round draft pick. That's just that. But if you can get Deuce, he gives you another recruiter. I think right after that, you got to go make sure you retain Debo Atkins. He and Durkin's relationship, I think, is going to be important. But I don't know if people understand what kind of season Debo Atkins just had. And agents, right now, in this is the part of the year where agents go talk to all the general managers, and they say, "Hey, look, if I had a guy who was this height, this speed, this weight, and had these stats, what would you offer him?" Well, if you and he did, and he could do it, and let's say this guy played in a conference like the SEC, and that GM would say, "Well, a guy who was this size, this speed, with this type of production, and this weight, and if he's doing it against this competition, this guy would be worth this amount of money for me." The agent goes to the player and says, "Well, all right, this looks like this school could potentially be a fit for you. No tampering. If you don't think this is going on, like now, this is how it goes, right?" And DJ Durkin has mentioned it. You got schools saying, "Yeah, I've had schools ask me, hey, do you know Cam Coleman?" I was like, "No, I really don't know him." "Hey, Dukes, you know Cam Coleman?" Not at all. Everybody and agents asking, "Dukes, do you know Cam Coleman?" But I think you're a little late on that, my brother. Cam Coleman is, especially with a coaching change, a player like that, he's a game changer. So I think Deuce Knight and Cam Coleman and Deuce Knight, Cam Coleman, Debo Atkins, Jay Crawford. You get Canley. I think if you get that core back, you got solid. You got solid anchors. I think a lot of the younger guys, I think they're happy, right? But I think you got a solid core. If you could, you gotta listen. That's who you got to go recruit. But I think that plus some of the younger guys and a couple of guys you bring with you, you got a playoff team next year for sure. Yep. So what do you guys think? What are you guys hearing? This is an open communication. Drop it in the comments what you've been hearing. I don't care if it's message board talk. I don't care if it's your cousins whose baby daddy's uncle's cousin has a son who's a male cheerleader that knows somebody. I don't care. Drop it in the comments. Let's figure it out, because at the end of the day, nothing is not, and I want to make sure I reiterate this. Nothing is done until pen hits paper and it's announced. That's it. That's when it's done. So right now it looks like Summerall, and this could all change by this time next week. But we'll be paying attention, and make sure you're tuned in to the Scoop with Dukes. All right, it's my time. I'm out.